Take a letting go and exhale with me. It's always a good practice, whenever and wherever, to practice that breath out, that exhale. And I've got a story for you. I'm trusting that in me sharing my story and transformation, in the big idea, the context of my brand, which is our pure potential. And just to remind you, our pure potential is our personal power. And this story is about a time when I lost my personal power. And often the pain that might be sitting on our chest, that heaviness, that pain, as well as perhaps being connected to the situation itself, the pain is your loss to your personal power. Because what is our power? What is our personal power? Our personal power is our ability to stay, to remain connected to Source. And when we remain connected to Source, our power, we're supported, we're fully supported. So the first thing I want to say is this motivational strapline you hear a lot, and I hear a lot, and I like it, but my absolute mission is that we go deeper beyond the affirmations. And like, my mission, everything is working out for me. This strapline, this common strapline that you know, and I like it. Everything is working out. Everything is working out in my favor. However, there's a but. Everything will not be working out in your favor, however many times you say that sentence, if you're not supported with Source, if you're not connected to your Source. And so let's go a step further. When you allow yourself to be connected to your power, your Source, your higher self, your inner being, whatever words you want to use, it doesn't matter what words, it's that it resonates, it speaks to you. When you are supported by Source, you're supported by life, because we're not separate. And the loss of our personal power is in that separation, that disconnection, that disassociation. So let me come to point number 2. We started with our personal power is when we allow ourselves to be supported by Source. I'm going to come and bring a story that I hope will move you. And then the second part, what was I going to say was the second part. So supported with our Source. Yes, so a reminder, and I don't know if you've contemplated this, but because this has been my profession, my mastery, what I want you to consider is whatever feels not supported in your physical body, whatever feels that it's not working out in your physical body, will be connected to the outer world. And I think this has always been my mission, to keep it holistic. So if you're fully supported by Source, by life force, by that energetic light, the energetics, energy, it will be a direct correlation to what you see going on in your life. So it's very likely that well, it's not very likely, it is fact, that the imbalances that you experience in your physical body as dis-ease are connected to patterns, automatic patterns, where either there's control, effort, too much energy being invested, or where there's a disassociation, where we've disconnected. So think of it as, excuse me, one is where you're making, still in a pattern of effort, your body isn't in balance then, you haven't got the full support of life force energy, you're disrupting the flow, not intentionally, but from something traumatic or from a past situation. And where there's disassociation or disconnection, also our body isn't in harmony, isn't fully supported by life force energy, by source, your source, that which is life itself. They're not separate. And those are the first 2 points that I want you to let land. So however much you want to say this statement, everything is working out in my favor, everything is working out. I want to use it though, because what I'm going to invite you into, for those that I feel it's going to be a good fit for you and me, you absolutely can get to that place of everything is working out. And I've personally made this transformation. I'm going to share a story with you so that I think it will touch you on hopefully on a very human level, rather than just sharing energetics and embodiment, which is also useful. So let me begin. I want you to be reminded that whenever somebody hurts you with words, emotionally, physically, it's because they are hurting. The only reason somebody hurts another person is because they're lacking that love. They can't access their own love. And so either you are a threat to their existence in some way, or that anger or frustration or hate, their own pain, is projected on to you. And so in my teenage years, going back to point 1 about our personal power, when we're in our personal power, we're supported by source, and only then can we be fully supported. I lost my power as a teenager because I had vindictive energy sent at me. And you may have experienced this yourself. It wasn't anything I did to somebody else and I should have been, and somebody could say, well, yeah, you kind of deserve that back. It wasn't. It was through my being, just being who I was. Somebody didn't like it. I don't need to go into all of the finer details, but I'm sure me just sharing this story is an opening. So remember, if anyone sends their unkind words or has a problem with you, wants to take you down, it's only ever because, unless you've done something, unless you were the instigator, I'm talking about when you're just being you, right? It's because that person has pain, and that pain they're sending out to others. And I lost my power. For 4 years, I lost my power as a teenager. After 4 years, it was a very good push off that as soon as I left that town, boy, did I get my power back in a powerful, lit up way. I found myself again, but I definitely lost my power. I shrunk. I didn't say what I wanted to say. I didn't even ask for any support. I kind of buried my head and took it. And when we lose our power, when we stop shining so bright, which is when you're supported by your inner being. When you're supported by your inner being, you shine bright. All of us. And so I stepped into this new situation shining very bright. It was happiest years, going from the happiest years of my life to traumatic moments, many moments. And so through this recent healing journey that I led myself through, I could see why it felt that things were not working. Some things were not working in my body, in my health, and outwardly. Because what we do when we feel that in the past we've had someone wanting to take you out, take you down, have you shiny less shiny, shining less, because you're a problem with your whatever it was, too loud, too beautiful, got too much money, got too much of this, got too much of that. Your body, you very likely live in alertness to that threat until you heal it and transform it so it's no longer alive. And so what I recognized as a safety loop or a pattern that I'd created, and if you hear it, you may resonate. I sabotaged. I made sure that when really good things came as a potential, I took them out so that nobody else could take them out or me out. Resonate? To ensure that I never felt that threat of someone wanting to take me out again, maybe a problem, I sabotaged things working. Why? Because when things are working, coming back to point one, when everything is working as it should be, you're connected to source, you're connected to your power. And what else? You shine. And I can guarantee that every single person who watches this video and listens had some situation, be that in the home, be that with siblings, be that with parents, be that with school people growing up, that there were moments in your fully supported by your source, fully connected, not separate, connected to your life force energy. Maybe you in moments got angry and that wasn't a good thing. You were told, don't be angry. This anger does not bode well here. Put your anger away, take your anger away. That's your life force energy, your emotions. It can show up in all different ways. And so I had this pattern from those years ago where I was alert to not being threatened again, not wanting to experience those feelings again, even though I knew that I did nothing wrong apart from being me. And it doesn't matter. It's not that we would justify it. It's the safety. We're looking always to feel safe. And so in this process, taking my life from it not working, which is the self-sabotage, because if it's not working, then there's no threat of anyone taking me out. And so if we are going to allow connection to our source, our power, because now I'm sure speaking to you, and I know this was true for me, I would handle those situations in a very different way. And I just gave my teenage self a big hug because she did her best. She handled it the best and she survived. You will have survived many situations. I'd give you a high five. Think of the situations that you survived and also give your younger self a squeeze. And there's many moments where it was the safest thing to disassociate, to disconnect from your power. So in that situation, what would my power have been? My power would have been accessing, feeling fully those feelings, anger, rage, of attack, and defend myself. No fucking way. You don't say those things to me. You don't do that to me. You don't speak to me like that. Or feeling the feelings, letting them go, and I don't waste my energy. I don't need to now give back. But that's different to controlling emotions, not wanting to feel them, not wanting the other person to feel them, not saying anything. And walking then in life, as I did for a fair few years, alert to danger. People saying mean things, having a problem with me. And whenever we live this way, what you'll see is struggle. You'll see struggle in your life. You'll see things not working. Because when things are working, there's no separation from your power, from your source. The life source and your source, because it's the same. It's the same. And it becomes such a beautiful relief in your body when you can close this loop, this unresolved situation. And you know, the other thing you can do, which I highly recommend, if what I'm sharing resonates with you, and I think so many of you will be like, yeah, I remember this time with this person or these people at school, or I remember, you know, it's very common of all the clients, thousands and thousands of clients I've worked with, it was very common to have parents that had problems with their kids, with my clients, you know, the jealousy, the control. So wherever it's speaking to you, you've got to go there. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do an embodiment practice here, but I'm going to invite you in. I'm going to invite you in. And we're going to do it together so that you absolutely reclaim your power. And let me just remind you, it doesn't now mean that nobody is going to have a problem with you or not like you or speak bad of you. But now, that's not where my attention goes. Say what you want. So it's not that nothing intense is ever going to happen again, but that you're not that child that went into alert mode and actually victim mode, if we think about it, when we lose our power, becoming a bit afraid and timid. And so this transition is from things not working in your life, and it might just feel like God, universe is against you, but it's often not. We're self-sabotaging, because if we allow that connection to power, to source, to life force energy, like I said, where things, all that can happen then is things can work, because what we're doing is we're keeping that aliveness of not wanting to be in our power, because when we're in our power, we shine, we get more, we have more, we are more, and we stand out. But I want you to stand out. It's the point. And you know the crazy thing, I'll always give you these self-fulfilling prophecies. So we're in that situation where it was better not to make things work, you not shine too bright, you not be too much, you not be you. Because the fear is that we're going to stand out. We don't want to stand out, so we try to shrink and hide and lose our life force energy, all of who we are. But then actually, we get the fear. We end up experiencing the thing we're trying to avoid, which is pain. The thing that I was trying to avoid in what was coming at me was the pain of it. And by losing my power and retreating, I created more pain, because now I'm a good target. I didn't hold my own. I didn't defend myself. Or different ways to hold your power, or let it go. Feel the emotions, the pain or the fear, and then being in reality. In reality, it was words, but words can hurt. You might remember. You might have been the targeter or the target. Words can hurt. But when we're in that alert protection mode of pain, guess what we get more of? Because we attract it. Whatever we're trying to protect, resist, it's going to come at us even more. It's the law of attraction. And it's such a relief for your body when you drop the energy invested, the effort it takes to walk in life. I know it's not conscious, but as I'm describing it, to be walking in life, alert to the danger of attack, someone not liking you, being too much, or whatever that thing was that you personally experienced, trying to avoid that at all costs. It takes energy to try to avoid things in life, every day, every moment. And when we drop those efforts and we allow the feelings that were, even the old fear, the pain, might be the rage of the injustice or the how dare you, feeling vilified. The core of your sacredness attacked. There's a relief. We come back to choosing to put our focus and attention on relaxing into the moment. And if you check, at least I can check, I'm safe. There's nothing unsafe. So for the effort that we do in the body to feel unsafe creates the outcome in our life that life's not working. There's a problem. There's a struggle. We're creating it from that alertness to danger. But often, it depends what level of trauma you had growing up. There might have been real danger, so I will never minimize that. There may have been for you. But still, losing our power to the moment, disconnecting, disassociating, it's still the least useful thing we can do. Because we become more of a target, because we've given up our power. People feel it, you know? You become the target energetically. People feel it. And so even though when we make this choice and this step to connecting to be supported by our inner being, which we are anyway, it's just that we've created effort and patterns that are going against it, sabotaging it. It's always there, but we're just sabotaging it. When we stop the sabotage, when we stop creating on repeat the struggle, the suffering, life not working, it's not working, whatever it is, your business isn't working, your finances aren't working, your body's not working. This is because we've disconnected from the support of life, the support of our life force, which is life itself. It's the same energy. I am the same energy of life, the universe, God, whatever you, all the same, it's the same. And so this is when things start working out for you, because you stopped being afraid of it. You know now that letting all these good things in, all the good things in that you desire without sabotaging, without blocking them, being afraid of them. You know that you can handle whatever. Just that you're no longer available to pay that price. And it's a big price that we pay. It was a big price that I paid. It was a painful moment in time in my life. But I survived it and I came out the other end, and I got back to my power and my source. And I want that for you. Then it can't not be that things work out for you, because then you take away that subconscious energy and attention on trying to keep yourself safe, which is crazy when we think about it. But it comes from this fear. and there's relaxation in the body, and we're connecting to our inner being, and we're guided, and we're receptive, because we're not investing our energy now in trying to keep ourselves safe and alert to danger, and because we're alert to danger, we get things not working out, create more of that struggle. Things work out. Things start working out because you freed up the space now, the space, and you are agreeing to let in the good stuff. And you'll deal with whatever you have to deal with from the outside. And it's the unknown. You might still have people around that give you looks. You've got too much. You're doing too much. Who are you? It's just the post. So, remember, whenever you receive, not as a response to something you've done, that's a different situation, but whenever, that's karma, that's the law of the karmic law. Whenever you receive jealousy or dislike or a look or a word or whatever it is, remember, it's because for that person or those people, there's pain, their own pain. And our job, our work, our practice is not to cut off our source of love and truth and presence, not to disconnect from ourself. Our emotions are the power in your body, that sometimes that energy is no. Even just the energy of it, it doesn't even have to be spoken. We feel the presence of someone. And it's a lot of what I'm bringing in my brand is the standards, what you're not available for. It can be felt, not even have to be said. You feel someone when they're powerful, when they've got good, strong boundaries, when they don't care if you're going to gossip about them. You've got too much life to build And so remember, if you're seeing things, experiencing things not working in your life, it's because you're likely sabotaging it. We're always supported by Source, but we can keep that support out. We can disassociate, disconnect, you know, have a belief, like I was saying, or a way of being. I am the one who lives in life needing to be alert to danger, threat, people not liking me. If that's the conclusion, if that's the identity, life's going to give you that. It's going to show you. And your life won't be working, however much a source is trying to flow through you and to you. And it's why I love my founded way of working, which is, I was going to say always, but mostly always, including the body. Because, let me give you an example, as I close this way of being, this story from my past, so that things are working I'm not sabotaging the things that are working because that equals danger, that equals pain, that equals threat, that equals whatever it equaled. Because I'm not doing that anymore. Where I was doing that in my body, I released the old emotions, the pain that I didn't, put on a brave face, you will remember. Not crying if you were bullied or showing that you were weak. All of these moments that we endure, go through as children and young adults, they need to be released. So there's space. And then space. Those of you that know physics, a vacuum, space has to be filled. New things come because there's space. And we don't have to fill the space immediately, but life will flow and move and you'll be in the dance of life again. And new things are able to come. That's the difference. That we stop the predetermined, evidence-based, staying on the same road, path of only things not working, because that's only possible while you're holding that pattern. So I'm sending a real tender love to those that hurt me. And I'll give you one last thing at the end. Because they were hurting. And I want you to do the same as you're listening for your own experience. And tender love, maybe even a high five, like I said, to high five that younger version of you that survived. And lost themselves likely in the process. But my work, as the name suggests, pure potential, is that any part of us that was fragmented, which means separated, we call back, we recover back that life force, that energy, that power. I wonder if I've got something in my tooth. Can always be the way after lunch. Lunch and then coming on a video. No, I haven't got my glasses on. We're okay. Alrighty. So, and you see, I don't think I would even care, even if I had something in my tooth. More important things become important, but it's very likely those situations that you went through, we were often very hypervigilant to not standing out too much, not being, made fun of, and all those things. That's why I'm saying it's a tenderness to come back to, a tender love back to yourself, of knowing that if you are sabotaging the potential of your life because you're trying to stay safe, be tender with that part. And I will walk you and talk you, and we'll work through using my Pure Potential method to be in a safe space and transform this sabotage that you're doing if things aren't working in your life right now. Okay? I hope this was useful. So what I'm going to do to give you the practical steps, whether you're listening now with me live or you catch it on the replay, it doesn't matter. What day are we on? So I would say by the... let me just think about my schedule of when I could get this. Let's say by next week, the beginning of next week at the latest, because I hope to do it before, I'm going to send out a link to join the embodiment salon. The embodiment salon, it's a mouthful. The embodiment salon. And the first session that we're going to do together, it's a monthly sign up. You can pay the annual fee or monthly, whichever suits your budget. And every month I will bring a deep dive training like this, where the aim is transformation. Transformation is the name of the game. Coming back to your personal power, your light, shining bright, and step by step stopping these ways that you're currently sabotaging, which then equals your life not working as you want it to. The struggle, the suffering. We're going to come into our power, connected to our emotions so that they're available. And as I said, if I was up against what I was up against when I was a teenager, it might not be that I'm not going to waste my energy in defense mode. But we don't know. But we don't want to live automatically preparing for danger. Such a waste of our energy, and it's the most useless thing we can do, actually. So if you're curious and you think, I need some of this, it's speaking to you, maybe drop below the video, what word shall I say? Me. Just say me. If it's you, me. And I will look out for those messages, and then I will know to send you the link when it's ready. Okay? I can't wait to support you in this journey of going from struggle, continual struggle, things not working, to things working. Because you will release your attention, your energy on trying to prevent pain of things not working, trying to control that things don't work. And when we release that, we then have got our attention, our focus on things working, because we're not afraid of the things working. Because we know we're back in our power. We might stand out, but there's no fear. Deal with it whatever. I'm just only available to be in my personal power, my full potential, and my pure potential. This is the only option. My standards. And I'm always up for a bit of curiosity of how life works. So you can be curious when you actually do make this step and you are in your power. The thing that we think is going to happen, often we kind of pulled the plug. The energy is not active anymore. So for my situation, what I was afraid of is not being liked, being too much, being too fancy, having too much money, my parents, whatever it was that I was being told and bothered not now. But then, because it's not active, it's probably what you'll get is a whole ton of support and love and go you, I got you. Because we're creating, often that self-fulfilling prophecy is what we're creating. The thing we're afraid of is what we're creating. So if I'm not afraid of that anymore, it's not going to come. It's not going to come for you either. Okay? I'm going to close out because this is a subject. It's my big, my big idea in my business, and I could talk about it for a long time. So I'm going to close out here and know that you've got, and trust that you've got enough to know if you're coming with me to part 2. Okay? Mwah.